Welcome to Insights from the Couch, where real conversations meet real life at midlife.
We're Colette and Laura, two therapists and best friends, walking through the journey right alongside you. Whether you're feeling stuck, restless, or just unsure of what's next, this is a space for honest conversations, messy truths, and meaningful change.
And our Midlife Masterclass is now open. If you're looking to level up, get into action, and make midlife the best season yet, go to insightsfromthecouch.org and join our waitlist. Now let's dive in. Hi guys, welcome back to Insights from the Couch. We have a fabulous guest here with us today, Claudia Noriega-Bernstein, who I have had the pleasure of sitting with before on her hit podcast. And we're going to really dive into how to generate your own authentic happiness from within, not relying on other people, finding it within yourself, which I think we all know is the goal, but how do we actually do it? Claudia knows, and she's going to share it all. First, I want to just introduce her quickly, and then we'll let you take the stage, Claudia. She is an author, a speaker, an artist, a host of the award-winning podcast, Don't Shrink to Fit, a 3-time cancer survivor, and the best-selling author of Brighter Days, 88 Most Important Lessons Learned in Life, as well as the children's book series, Valentina and Her White Elephant. I love that name, which helps children and families navigate difficult topics such as death, divorce, and other life challenges. Through her writing, speaking, and coaching, Claudia empowers women to build confidence, resilience, and inner abundance while embracing their worth and living with greater purpose and authenticity. Amen to that. Welcome, Claudia.
I'm so happy to be with you, ladies. Thank you.
We're so happy to have you.
Yeah, so interested.
It's so important when we talk about happiness, or everybody has to be in the same page because we have so many ideas about happiness and we make people responsible for our happiness. And no one is responsible for our happiness but ourselves.
Exactly. And is
It's
that
a tough
something
lesson to learn?
Yeah. And so I want to start by asking you a little bit, if you don't mind sharing, of your personal experience with being a 3-time cancer survivor. I mean, I'm guessing this may have shaped the way you approach life. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
For sure, it changed the way I think of every moment of my life because I learned to live on purpose. I see, and this is why I coach women, and Colette, you and I have talked before in my show about this a little more, but we think that the world is responsible for our happiness. And then we just have to wait for somebody to knock at the door and say, hey, I heard you want to be happy. Here I am to make you happy. And that's not going to happen. We have to create the space for that happiness. And we have to live on purpose. And I was allowing life to happen to me for many years. And I was living in a victim place where everything happening to me. I had that place furnished, very comfortable, right? I was sitting there and this is my life. So, I should be grateful because I have a roof over my head and food and that's about it. But when enough is not enough anymore, you start questioning, right? You start saying, wait, I think I'm meant for more. And whatever is happening, maybe right now I don't understand that it's happening for me. And maybe in the future it will make sense and I will go, oh, now I know. But we don't have to wait for that. When I have my clients, for example, and say, you know what, in a year, I'm going to start painting. Or in a year, I'm going to take that vacation. Or in a year, I'm going to start dating again. I said to her, okay, so what you're telling me is that you're giving an expiration date for the shitty life that you're living right now. Now we are clear, right? Now when we understand, then that's okay. Let's wait for a year. You continue living your shitty life. And in a year, when you're ready to claim what is your birthright to have, which is happiness, we didn't come to this world to suffer, then we'll talk about it. Right?
Everyone's always waiting, right? Like I see this all the time. Like there's some perfect moment and there never freaking is.
No. I mean, take things as little as a pair of shoes. You buy a pair of shoes and I'm going to save it for a special occasion. Why? Wear a pair of jeans with those shoes.
Yeah. The time
Go
is
out
now.
with those shoes. Go cook with those shoes. Make yourself feel great with those shoes for yourself.
Claudia, how did you get to this? Because I'm assuming that like facing cancer 3 times galvanizes something in you. Like help us understand like how this was so like personal for you.
It was a process, right? Because we are all in this journey of healing. And unfortunately, the conditioning that we receive is like we already came with a suitcase full of crap that doesn't serve us. So when I got divorced, that was my aha moment. And I think that what made me realize what I needed to do was a situation with my mother. I didn't have, and I really don't still have a very good relationship with her. It has evolved to a point that I am very indifferent to what she thinks about me or she says about me or she tells me about myself. But at that time, I was a single mom with 3 kids under 5. I walked out of a relationship, which was an amazing relationship. And you guys, you ladies have a show about betrayal and forgiveness. And I was able to go to that place with my ex-husband that passed away later. And I love that show, by the way, so I recommend that people go listen. But I asked my mother to come and watch my daughters so I can go and get a job. After I spent a whole year selling everything but myself to feed my kids. And she sent me a suit and she said, go get a job, which didn't help me because my kids were going through that transition. For me, it was important to stay there. So I was recuperating from my first cancer and I asked her to come. And when I came back home, I found my 5-year-old sitting outside in the steps of my little apartment. I had a tiny little apartment. After I was living in a huge house, 3 cars, pooled and everything else, I was reduced to this, right? Because I made the choice to stand for myself. When I got there, I see my daughter, and my daughter goes, Mom, Sophia, my daughter Sophia was 11 months when I got divorced. At that time, she was 2 years old. I go upstairs and I found my daughter in the closet and her hand was swollen. My mom has smacked her because she grabbed a little picture and she wanted to take my face out of the picture. And that was the beginning of me looking for my happiness because I didn't want my kids to have my childhood. I didn't have my kids to have that conditioning. I didn't have my kids to second guess themselves. It was like I went to that closet and I saw my inner child. So that was, if you ask me, Laura, when was the beginning? That was the aha moment in my life when I said, it stops with me. They're not going to have the same, even though I knew I wasn't like her, because for a lot of reasons, when people say what Jesus would do, I would think what my mother would do and I would do the opposite. Not because I think that she was a bad person, but because I knew my voice. I knew what I needed when I was a kid. So I wanted to be a different kind of mom. But when I saw that violence and I saw that DNA was in me and I could become that, I made a promise to myself. Number 1, it stops with me. And number 2, I'm starting to live on purpose. And I'm going to start to see every moment as a gift. And I'm going to really, really, even in the hardest moment, pause and see what is this moment trying to teach me.
Ooh, yeah, that's a huge shift. You really stepped into the seat of power. And I love what you're saying here. The motivation, you're seeing your child suffer, you're confronting your own inner child within and realizing I'm not going to perpetuate this. This is going to stop now and I'm going to live differently.
Yeah. And one of the things that I did, Colette, was I understood that I could choose my emotions the same way I choose my clothes every morning.
Say more about that, Claudia. What do you mean?
I wake up in the morning, and this is a ritual I do, but it's not a ritual anymore because it's just the way I'm living now. I mean, I've been divorced. My youngest one is going to turn 30 in April. So imagine that. I'm going to turn 60 this year. Gulp.
Oh my God.
So,
Awesome.
thank you. So I started learning, because I didn't have the resources to get a coach. And that's what I'm starting also the nonprofit that we'll talk about it later. But I didn't have money to feed my kids, let alone go and ask for help. So I started reading, watching YouTube videos, going to the library and reading psychology books and feeding my brain with yummy stuff, because we are information junkies and we listen to everything around us and we believe it. We create that evidence in our brain, so we just run with it and we don't question. So I said, no, I'm going to be very picky about what I put in my brain. I'm going to start really picking and choosing. And I remember reading a book about emotions, and I said, well, happiness is a choice. I choose to wear a dress or a pair of pants or to have my hair up or my hair down. I'm going to start choosing my emotions. So I woke up in the morning and I choose to be happy today. Doesn't mean my life is perfect, but I choose to see the positive in everything. That's one thing I do every day. The second thing I do every single day, and it's going to sound super corny, I pay forward. Every day I do something for somebody. Even if it's just, I'm going to let you cut in front of me in line. I'm going to buy a lunch to somebody that is outside the restaurant, is a homeless. I am going to call somebody and say, hey, I'm thinking of you today. And I just wanted to tell you that I know life is hard, but you're a badass woman and I love what you're creating. Little things that would fill my heart with joy, but it's also giving that joy, sharing that joy. So those are little habits that I incorporated in my life that create evidence in my brain that I have an abundant, happy life, even when the days are not perfect.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I think it does come down to like really being on purpose and choosing. I mean, I know we talk a lot here about like feeling your feelings. And if there are negative feelings, we really feel them. But there is this like seat of control that we have. And it is these little behaviors that you're talking about that can be such a difference maker.
Yeah.
We forget about it.
Well, also you can still feel what you feel and make space for, you don't have to disconnect from negative feelings and not allow them to move through you, because I think that's important too. But it's the choice of how you're going to view what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to remind myself, even when I'm struggling, that there's beauty in this, that I have the privilege of being alive, that there's a lesson in my struggle, even if I don't know what it is yet. And then by choosing to help others and pay it forward, people are amazed. Some people who don't do this as actively as you might be amazed by how good that feels, how self-reinforcing, the positivity we feel inside when we have an impact on other people's lives. So you're paying it forward and you're creating a circle where your choice to be positive then impacts other people, and then that comes back to you and there's more positivity.
100%. And in my, I created a gratitude journal for children, and it's in some of magnet schools here in Vegas, and it's in El Salvador, and it's in Peru as well. And one of the prompts is, my good deed of the day was. So in a way, you're already training your brain to think of possibilities that you can be doing in the future, because the kids are so excited about writing what they did good today that they start talking like, and tomorrow I'm going to do this, and the day after I'm going to do that. So they're already planning to be good to somebody, to pay forward. And that is the inner abundance. I mean, the inner abundance is the relationship that you have with yourself and how you want to show up. Your your abundance comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you tap into. People think abundance is just the cars and the house and the travel and whatever. It's coming from here.
Let's talk about this a little bit in terms of your relationship, because you went through a divorce. And like we discussed on your podcast too, Claudia, like my first divorce story is so similar in so many ways. My kids were little. I too made the choice of I'm going to save myself, even though it's going to mean a lot of economic uncertainty. And I don't know how the hell I'm going to make it work, but I did and you did. And I think that's a really scary but empowering thing for people. But now you're in a relationship and you have some thoughts that I think are really helpful on what we should be expecting from our partner and not expecting, and what this looks like when you live in this way. What does a good partnership look like from your perspective?
Well, first of all, your husband is not responsible for your happiness. The same way that your mother or your brother or your friend or your boss, you are responsible. Happiness is self-leadership. So you are responsible for your happiness. And also, you don't get to blame your partner for your unhappiness, for your trauma, for your frustrations, for your triggers. Your triggers are opportunities for you to figure out that some part of you is not healed. So your ex doesn't have to pay for your ex in a way. So my husband was, and I have put him in that place for a long period of time. You're responsible for my happiness, and it's your fault that I'm feeling this way.
Yes.
And
I see that all the time.
It's all the time.
The
And I
most
came to
common thing
terms
in therapy.
with the fact that no, he's not. He has his own baggage. And again, I'm not responsible for your happiness. I remember my husband one time a few years ago, we're 21 years together, so it wasn't always perfect. And it was a period of time that we were really not doing good. And he came to me like complaining, I'm not happy. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do about it? Like, what would you like me to do about it, really? Because I am not responsible for your happiness. If this doesn't work for you anymore, then you make that decision.
Right.
Because this is your life. It's not my life. I will make the decision for my life.
He was trying to make you responsible for his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and not only that, but I think that we get into this mindset of the way we experience life is what's happening to us and what somebody else is doing. And we forget, you can't change your partner. Let's say something's happening in the relationship that you don't like. All you can really do is communicate and make choices based on what you get back. You can't control your partner, but you can control what you will and won't tolerate. Exactly. And you got to get real about that and take your power back and understand that you have agency in your life. Even when you're telling yourself, like the victim stance, I can't because of X, Y, Z, there's always choice. And we've got to help people shift back into that. So what would you say to somebody listening who maybe is in a relationship that just they really feel like, oh my God, my partner doesn't see me, doesn't hear me, misunderstands me, doesn't meet my needs, the way they behave is so, all that stuff. Where do you start helping someone like that?
I start with themselves, because you cannot ask anybody what you're not giving to yourself. So you need to start mothering yourself. You need to start midwifing yourself.
I love that word.
Okay? You need to start seeing what is it that I need and try to fulfill that. And the second part is, am I asking what I'm not giving? Because it's very rich to go and say, I need this, I need this, I need this. But are you giving that to your partner?
Yeah, be the partner that you want to receive.
And you inspire. Like, my husband and I have a very unique relationship that probably is not very conventional for a lot of people, but it works for me and him. There is a lot of trust, there is a lot of loyalty. But a few months ago, I decided I wanted to have my own room. And my mother, my aunts, my sister, my friends, they all pull in their hair, like, how are you going to do that? This is not marriage. How long? And I'm like, wait a minute. This is my relationship.
Right.
I have to do what works for me. My husband is a night owl. I like to wake up with the sunrise. Why Why am I going to stay in a room until midnight watching TV when that doesn't work for me?
It's awful.
But you know what? We're afraid to speak up and tell our partner, what we need. We're afraid to go and say, this is not working. I love you. Come visit me. We'll have steamy sex. But then you go to your room because I want a good night's sleep.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it really is such the fundamental building block of a relationship that you have to find and use your voice. Like, it is about just saying what's true about what you feel and want and need, because nobody's going to read your mind. And certainly we're not going to get what we want if we don't articulate it.
Exactly.
So it's like a really great reframe too. And I think what people also don't understand is the only way you get better at doing this is by doing it. It feels uncomfortable.
Talking.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, abundance create, when you have your inner abundance, you trust yourself, you know your value, so you stop giving discounts. That's it. You know negotiables.
Right.
You know
no
what
more
it is.
discounts. I love that.
I have that in my book. When you know your value, you stop giving discounts. You know your capacity to grow because you are starting from within, right? And then the transformation comes and the awareness comes with the transformation. So you start noting things. And instead of saying, do I deserve this? And be in that place of, I'm going to wait for somebody to knock at the door and tell me what I deserve. You go to the, how can I create this for me? How can I be a magnet of possibility? How can I start claiming? How can I raise my energy so I can be in that frequency where everything that is available for me is just going to find me? So it's a total different journey. What you said earlier, Colette, about, how you're going to react. I don't react. I respond. I respond to things in my life and I take my time and I pause. And maybe it's my best friend because I don't have to give you an answer right now. I get to think what's going to work for me because I'm living this journey and it's my journey. And I want to make sure that whatever I say to you or whatever I agree or commitments I make with other people are aligned with my avatar. I have a higher self-avatar, and I know what kind of life that avatar wants to have. So I'm not going to say yes to you and no to me. That's not happening. So I'm going to be, maybe I'm going to buy myself some time, and I'm going to really regulate myself and figure it out. If this is this aligned with what I want? Is this something that I really want in my life? So I'm not reacting. I'm responding.
Yeah.
From a neutral place.
Yeah. So I love this, but when you're coaching women and you're getting to that higher level of frequency and you're beginning to build that inner abundance, what are some of you talked about giving back and being abundant in what can I do for others, but give me some of the skills or energetic experiments you do with women to help them kind of shift this perspective and become more abundant, or living their avatar, as you call it, which I love.
Right. One of the things we do is our avatar, right? So I have a process that I take them through to create the avatar of their higher self. Some women pick a different name, she's going to be Rachel. Okay, what Rachel would do. So they create this avatar, and the design of this avatar is very specific. Is she married? Is she single? What kind of job she has? Does she have kids? She doesn't have kids. What does she lives in a place with a beach or mountains, or very specific, because they have the freedom to create the life that they want. And that's a billboard for them. So if they're going to go to a bar with friends, right? And they want to have another drink, they're going to think, did Rachel will have another drink? Right. Did Rachel will have a one-nighter with this guy? Did Rachel will go to that party? You understand? So it's easier, because that's the first step is finding out who you are And who do you want to become? And oftentimes, Laura, to become that, you have to unbecome what the world made you become. Because of conditioning, because of pressure, because you shrunk to fit, because you want to belong, because of a million reasons. So being in tune with yourself and having those mirror talks, right? I know you're doing your best. I love you. We're going to have a great day today. And if you don't, and if you fall out of the wagon, then have that grace for yourself and say, hey, today was a tough day. We kind of derailed a little bit, but tomorrow we are on it because now we're learning what we did today that didn't work. But you have to be in tune with yourself. You cannot check out because you're going to be in the same place. I had a lady coming to me. I went to a hockey game 2 nights ago, and this lady came to me and she goes, oh my God, Claudia, I'm going to call you. You gave me your card a year ago. And I think I'm ready. So that means that she had a shitty life for a year, right? She put an expiration date. I'm going to call Claudia in a year. So I'm going to have my shitty life for another year. That's a choice.
Yeah.
We make that choice every day. But when you have clarity, where do you want to be and who do you want to become, then you have to trust the process and you have to be committed to that avatar.
But you're setting the course by this is where I'm going, and you're creating alignment and a really great frame for evaluating that alignment on the micro every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being able to think, would future Colette do this? You know, that best me that I call the sage self. And I love the idea of the avatar, naming it something else, whatever you want to call it. That best self is within, but to connect to it and live it out every day and get where we want to go, we've got to be asking ourselves those things.
Right, right. And that plays a big part with your husband or with your partner, because it's not two people choosing each other only. It's also two people knowing that they are whole. You know, 1 + 1 is not 2, it's 11. You are two individuals. You're not completing each other. And when you understand that, then you stop shrinking and then you stop becoming what your partner wants you to become because I need to be A, B, and C for him. Of course, you're going to be supportive and loving and a friend and a lover and a partner and all of the above, but you're not going to lose yourself in the process. You're going to still be your authentic self, and you're going to continue going in this journey, and you continue healing, and you continue paying attention to your triggers, and you're going to continue paying attention why you feel stuck. Maybe you outgrow the situation. Maybe there is something else. And even that avatar can change. Maybe you can get halfway and say, you know what? I really don't want that. Now I want something different. And that's okay too, because I always say, God allows U-turns, so I'm going to allow U-turns for myself too.
Yeah, and this is very much the way you live as you continue to create new things. So you mentioned while we were chatting before we started that you have a new initiative that I think is so cool. Can you talk about your nonprofit and this new chapter?
Yes. So I've been coaching for almost 18 years or so. I wrote books. I have my podcast. And I was talking to my coach, and I mean, you guys know, you know, coaches have coaches. And I was talking to my coach, and I was like, I feel that I am meant for more. And she was looking at me like, you might be out of your mind, you know, I mean, how much more can you do? And I said, there is a part of me that is not fulfilled. And the everyday paying forward is not feeling like it's it. I need to do something else. And we were talking, and I had this idea many years ago of having a nonprofit that would be a resource for single moms. Because when I was a single mom, I didn't even know how to fill out an application for a job.
Yeah.
I didn't know what is the tax exception or whatever, and I didn't know anything. So this nonprofit is going to be a place where a single woman can come. She's going to get coaching. She's going to be part of the collective. She's going to have a community of other women that are going through the same thing she's going through. We're going to help her fill out the application for a job. We're going to have a closet where she can get an outfit to go to that interview. We're going to train her so she knows what to say, how to ask. what to talk when she talks about money, not to feel that her value is attached with the money. We are going to give them the tools that I didn't get when I was a single mom. So for me, this is coming full circle. And because everyone look for brighter days, and my book is called Brighter Days, that's how we name the nonprofit.
I mean, that's so great, Claudia, because there's such an asymmetry in who gets services. And very often it's like the people who need it the most don't get the coaching, that you have to be in a place where you can pay, big money for it. So it's like intervening on that level is like, that's like the real work, right? With women that really, really need it at the right time in their life.
Yeah. And I didn't have that. So I know I walk the walk. Sometimes people look at us and think, oh, they got it easy, look at them and they have this and look what she's wearing and then she's going on a trip. It wasn't overnight. And it took a lot for us to get to this place. And there were a lot of lessons and there were a lot of falling and getting up and dusting ourselves and try again. And when I say you are starting again, you're not starting over, because you have all the knowledge and the experience and the lessons from the last time that didn't work. So for me, starting again is juicy. It's great. I love it. Give it to me. I'll do it again, because now I'm not coming empty-handed. I have a luggage full of tools
in the best way.
I am going to bring with me. Yeah.
Well, I think this is so inspiring for women that it doesn't always come easily or quickly. It's really not about what you have. It's about connecting to yourself in a different way and deciding you're going to live your life differently. You're going to embrace opportunities. You're going to embrace struggle. You're going to choose. You're going to be intentional about living in alignment with your highest and best self. And then things energetically start to happen. And it really is, as we talk about this today, I think the biggest part of this shift that we all see in coaching and therapy work is people get really mired in the victim story. Mm-hmm. And, it's not to say that people don't go through hardship, but you have a choice about what you're going to do with that. And nobody is coming to rescue you. It is up to you to create your own happiness and meaning. And look at, you're continuing to grow. You advocate for yourself in your relationship. You're giving back to women who are where you once were. So you're really living this for everybody. And I think it's so wonderful that you do this work. I want to ask you too, before you tell everyone where they can find you, if somebody's listening right now and they're thinking, oh, I want all of this, but I don't know where to start or what to do first, or obviously they can work with someone like you, which would be a huge help. But what would you say to somebody who's maybe a little scared or intimidated or even questions if she can do this?
I would tell her to find her why she wants that. The how and the what is gonna reveal itself. But why? Why do I want to change my life? And if you need to write it down, write it down. And you're probably going to write a lot of things that doesn't make sense until one is going to be like, oh, okay, now I know. Now I know. And abundance is, it's change the lens through the lens that you are seeing the world through it. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. It's you change it. You don't see the world the same way anymore. You start seeing possibilities instead of probabilities. Mm. And that for me was the biggest shift. And I live my life like that. I raise my kids like that. And money is a tool, doesn't define you. Abundance is not what you have, because if one day you don't have it anymore, when you're not abundant. So the abundance of health, friendship, family, all the other abundance in your life disappear with your bank account? No. So abundance is a little bit of everything, but it comes from within. And if you have a why and you're clear with your why and you trust the process, things are going to start unfolding for you. But you have to be committed to that why. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be work. You have to work on yourself. And listen, in every situation, you have a responsibility. When you and I, Colette, talk about my divorce, I had some responsibility because I didn't see the red flags. I choose not to. I choose to look the other way around. Of course, there's different circumstances and everybody has their own journey. But in the majority of the cases, we don't want to see it. And then we're surprised. Oh, I don't know how that happened. I was such a good wife. Maybe you were an amazing wife, but this person was showing you some personality traits that you didn't pay attention to because you choose not to. Yeah. So that's your responsibility. That's what you drop.
We say it starts with taking radical responsibility for your life, because nobody is gonna save you but you.
Exactly.
And you have given me like a feeling today of living into my avatar a little bit more fully. I'm definitely.
I love that. Yay.
Yeah, and I like that way of framing it. I'm sure everyone listening is really going to get a lot from that idea, right? And that way of externalizing that part so you can develop a relationship with your avatar and point yourself in the right direction instead of getting stuck in, why did this happen? And there's nothing I can do about it. We all feel that way at times, but we can shift out of that if we're intentional and we live on purpose. So this is fantastic. Can you tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, connect with you, find your material, work with you, all that good stuff?
I'm in Instagram and I have my website, Claudia Noriega-Bernstein, is where they can find me. They want to know more about my books, Brighter Days. It was a bestseller. I'm actually nominated for Author of the Year 2026. And if you go to my website, you'll find the link there too, and in my Instagram to vote. And Brighter Days is 88 most important lessons learned in life for women that want to increase their confidence, resilience, and courage. So you get 88 lessons here. You can start with that and start, making different choices for yourself. Little by little. It doesn't have to happen overnight.
Oh, it's perfect. It's and such powerful work. You guys check it out. Claudia, thank you so much for being here. We'll link everything in the show notes, and we hope to see you again very soon. You're such an inspiration.
Oh, you guys are too. I love it. I was listening. Actually, I was watching you guys on YouTube. Go to their YouTube. I was watching your interviews there. You have a lot of juicy stuff there.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that, right? Let's be juicy.
I love that word.
Juicy, yeah.
All right, everyone. We hope you got some valuable insights from our couch today, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.